Viktor Gyökeres and his agent Hassan Sentikaya on their way to London. Gyökeres set for Arsenal medical as he only wanted to join them. Here with Sentikaya, key to waive his commission to help his client sign for the club he wanted. And I believe there's images of the private jet landing in London. Viktor Gyökeres for real, dog. Here we go, man. Like, people, big up yourself. Smash the like button. We finally got a striker. I mean, I did we ever think we'd get here? We knew we'd get here, people. We was told it was done, but we went through a long-hearted saga with Sporting Lisbon. Now, probably Man United fans could have briefed us on that, owing to their own pursuit of Bruno Fernandes. As I just mentioned there has been images of Mr. Gyökeres landing in London. Now, people, we can start to dream. Is he gonna play? We can have all the immediate conversations. Is he gonna play ahead of Kai Havertz and all these things? I don't know, people. For me, let's go back to basics this season. I'm all for the nerd stuff, the XG, the field tilts, all these things. You know, I love all of that. But every now and again, you have to reset. You have to be ruthless. This man's a striker. Slap him on the pitch. Make him the cold-blooded number 9, or better yet, number 14. We would have seen today that he's drawn that. He's better yet, he's picked that number. And just figure it out, man. Just sign him. Bring Eze to the carpet. Listen, just try for Rodrygo. You know what? Flip it. Fuck it. Bid for Isaac for no reason. I can't lie, people. Like, transfers are like a drug in it. Like, for me, obviously, I'm sure Berta and Arsenal give themselves a pat on the back. You know, Gyökeres, it looks like it's done. All the business we've done at this point. Personally, and I've said this before, and I'm going to keep maintaining it. I think there's going to be a bit of radio silence, and you know what? Everything's just going to be linked with us and Eze. I personally think the football club are going to focus on outgoings, in which stay to the end of the vid. We'll get onto some of them and some talking points. We would have seen today, obviously, Gyökeres has flown to London. There's finally been some further updates. Apparently, Viktor Gyökeres and his family were in tears when Berta congratulated them on the deal being complete. The players held tactical discussions with Arteta about his role. Medical tomorrow. See you at the announcement. Big up hand of Arsenal. And we knew we'd get here, but like, bloody hell, we're actually here now, people. Mikel Arteta is obviously going to, pardon me, remain coy on VG14, as this comment here says, until he's officially signed on the dotted line. You know, I cannot talk about a player who is not ours yet. Whatever happens in the next few hours, I'm sure the club will make an announcement of it. And I mean, Singapore, that time zone's ahead of us. So hopefully by the time I wake up, we've done this. David Ornstein's been was the first, and there's been a long list of journalists that has confirmed Viktor Gyökeres will take the 14. Owing to what he's done and what we've heard of him, how he speaks and his mentality, wearing a number, an iconic number at that. We can never downplay what the 14 means to Arsenal Football Club. But let's cut the crap, people. It's too late for that. If Eddie Nketiah can wear that, you can wear that. And furthermore, if William Gallas can wear the number 10 shirt, you definitely can wear that, people. Again, keeping up the theme with the striker kind of stuff, people. Apparently, Andrea Berra is exploring the potential sale of Gabriel Jesus this summer. Clubs in his native of Brazil have inquired, as have some European clubs. Let's see if this situation develops further. Now, the first thing I would say is, you know, we obviously follow Gabriel Jesus on social media and we wish him well in terms of his recovery, but seems like he might return ahead of schedule. Now, that's probably projected to the end of the year. The beautiful thing about this, whether, you know, if you just look at it neutrally, Gabriel Jesus, it looks like your time's numbered at Arsenal Football Club. The injuries haven't helped, and we look like we can never downplay what you and Zinchenko brought to the club when you did, but time waits for no one. So if we do have clubs interested in you when you're not fully fit, when you're coming back from a second big long-term injury, fair play. And obviously with his wages, let's be honest, last summer there clearly was an emphasis on outgoings and looking after the budget and the wages. And I don't really care what these players get paid, but realistically, you know, players are on wages where their playing time or their stature in the squad or all the positive or negatives aren't matching up. And as I always say, you know, we love what Berta's doing /done / in the process of doing. We know about his CV at Atletico Madrid, but when you look beyond that, he comes from a financial background. One of, beyond the obvious, getting a striker, bringing in the incomings. Is Thomas Partey going to stay? Is he going to go? What are we going to do with Gabriel Jesus? What are we going to do with Tomiyasu and many people that have been, you know, many of the talking points around one of the players? Clearly, I believe anyways, when you look beyond that, the Cronkies have to have sat there and said, you know what, you need to clean up the wage bill, because Arteta and Edu, they did inherit a mess. They did clean up that mess, but for one reason or another, some of their own, both of their faults, some of the players getting injured, and where we're at now, we need to clear the ranks. And, you know, again, We ain't got a bottomless pit, even though our owners are billionaires. We have to look after that. Also, it's good for Gabriel Jesus if clubs in Europe and your homeland of Brazil defo want you, even with your injury stuff, going into a World Cup year and things like that. For us, you get his wages off the wage bill on top of what we've done with the Teenies, the Jorginhos, the Thomas Partey's, and in the process of doing Reece Nelson's on 100 grand a week, apparently Zinchenko's also on the same. That aids us in our case of committing Saliba, committing Saka, obviously dealing with the offset of the incoming wages and the contract renewals that we've been dealing with, so on and so forth. You lot get the drift, people. What would you lot make of Gabriel Jesus leaving? Because I can't lie, man. I did want one last dance with Tomiyasu, and I did want to see Gabriel Jesus left wing with Gyökeres. Just there might be a game or something for it. But yeah, Andrea Berra is exploring the potential sale. To be fair, I don't really think, well, we're not going to make back our initial investment or anything close to it. I think the club are just simply put saying, you know what, we'll accept quote unquote anything because your wages off the wage bill. Maybe I'm wrong. And Zinchenko needs to cut as well. Timber's obviously coming back from a long-term injury. I believe, personally, my hot take is Zinchenko has picked up some level of a knock, just because if you pay attention to the training sessions that were given access to in Singapore, Zinchenko ain't been training with the main squad on everything really, and he was spotted in trainers, sorry, when they were doing like the main drills. So have you picked up a little knock? Is it in terms of you haven't recovered as quick as expected after the AC Milan game because he obviously played? And we'll all remember those first initial 6 months from Gabriel Jesus was something else, people. Arsenal are not willing to pay the high salary that Rodrygo's camp is asking from them. They've made that very clear. So the Rodrygo dream might be done. Arsenal's interest in Eze is ramping up, and they now aim to swiftly move to secure him. Did you not see his goal for preseason in preseason for Crystal Palace? The Gunners' preference would be to sell before they move on to the deal, but it's not hinging on that. And Reece Nelson could be included in the move. I'm not going to ask you, would you include Reece Nelson? But what is your feasibility around Reece Nelson being involved in any potential deal? How much of the price tag on Eze does that knock off if we're going to explore a deal beyond activating his release clause? Because surely you're only rating Reece Nelson realistically at 10, 15, top ends, 20 million quid. Arsenal ramp up a bid for Crystal Palace star. That's what you want to hear, especially with the Gyökeres stuff and what we want to do next season, especially, not that I want to talk about it, but Liverpool, they're doing madness. Arsenal are aiming to swiftly move to secure Crystal Palace's Eze once the deal for Viktor Gyökeres is complete. The Independent understands the Swede is currently in London for his medical, allowing Arsenal to turn their attention to other targets. Mikel Arteta's side are Eze's top choice, so we want him, you want us. Let's get it happen, people. Agree something with Palace. As has been previously reported by the Independent, and those close to the player are confident a deal will be done in the next few weeks. Arsenal are hoping to agree a fee that comes to around 60 million rather than the reported 68 million clause. So have we got 40, 50 million? Come on, Crystal Palace, come on, 20 million. 20 million is enough. You saw Reece Nelson in preseason. He's preseason Neymar in the same way, you know, Chuba Akpom was almost R9 in preseason. So that's good, mate. But it hasn't said Crystal Palace have a willingness to negotiate anything beyond his release clause. Hopefully, as they can force the boat, and hopefully Arsenal actually get this done. Although there has not yet been any formal contact between the two clubs, which tells you a deal is a long way off, the suggestions are that both will be flexible amid good relations between the boardrooms. I mean, you've bought Matt Turner, Rob Holding, and Ian Nketiah. Come on, Crystal Palace, man. The Independent has previously reported that Arsenal were constructing a deal that they hope would be a split into 3 installments of 20 million euros. Arsenal preference would be to sell a player before they move on to the Eze deal, but it is understood the signing is not contingent on that deal now, which is great because a few days ago we were told we're only really going to move for Eze or anyone else if and when either Trossard or Martinelli, if not both, move on. There's a possibility Reece Nelson could be included in any deal. Come man, get that done. Arsenal reach a final Gyökeres agreement as Sporting give green light for medical, which is music to our ears. So I had to say it again, people. Viktor Gyökeres is in London as we've gone over. Arsenal want to go all in for Eze as initial fee agreed, apparently. What is this fee that's been agreed? Apparently he's agreed personal terms. And apparently the Gunners have agreed to pay an initial 30 million for the England midfielder, and discussions between the two clubs are now centered around the payment structure of the remaining 38 million. Smash the like button. We understand that Palace want the entire fee paid within 2 years. What do you lot make of that, people? This has said Zinchenko could actually end up staying at Arsenal Football Club, people. 1 year left as well in his deal. So for him, you could easily see potentially the value of waiting 1 more year on a good contract at a great club in London. And then obviously being a free agent next year gives you a lot more freedom. So I think for him, it would be a really good move, which is very possible that he'll get that. I think that one, just based on some of the names and clubs that have been linked to him and sort of checking those, I don't think that's moving the dial in the way you might expect. So that could be a little bit trickier, but let's see. It's quite a long way. Big up Sam Dean and shout out to the Latte firm. I mean, he's saying they're in posh terms, but we all know that Donny needs to move on. Once again, apparently we're no longer in the race for Rodrygo. Real Madrid are set to demand at least 85 million. Come man, bring Eze and him. During the pursuit of Benjamin Sesko, Arsenal were troubled because they felt they were being asked to pay a premium for a player who still needs significant development. Another reason for their pivot to Viktor Gyökeres was simply the different profile. Who cares, man? Big up Sesko. I believe he's got a believe. By the end of the day, Gyökeres is Arsenal's footballer. And what we need to remember is, Mikel Arteta will be under a lot of pressure. On the topic of pressure and if he believes he needs to deliver silverware, pressure is a great word. I think that means that there's belief in our ability to achieve what we want to achieve. And we've been very, very close to it in the last few seasons. And the whole team is going to determine whether we achieve that or not. But we have to make sure that we don't lose sight of what we have to do daily to get to the levels that we want, to set the demands that we want within this goal, because that's the most important one. The internal demands have to always exceed any external demand. That's what we are trying to achieve every single day. What do you lot make of that?